What's up, guys? So today I got some of my Spyder parts that I've been waiting for. One thing I got is basically to allow me to, there's a regulator in this handle, and this piece right here bypasses the regulator. So it came with a 1/8 inch pipe thread right here sticking out, not this quick disconnect. So on my old remote line adapter, this old steel cable one, I just removed the quick disconnect that normally is in this. It's 1/8 pipe thread also. So this used to be like in here like this. So I just have the quick disconnect sticking out of this nub thing. And then I'm gonna bypass this and see if I get higher velocities. I don't know what's gonna happen. It might leak, it might not leak, it might work fine, it might be the same speed. Like, I have no idea. I'm just trying this. And then depending how this works, I may or may not put this new valve inside of here. So this is where that front spring goes, and a little it's called a cup seal, and it's on this valve right here, this replacement valve. This is a high flow valve, and I think essentially what it's trying to do is allow more air to go into the marker and keep the pressure down. Everything I've looked at is kind of conflicting as far as, like, is low pressure better with high volume, or is high pressure better with the low volume of air? And it just seems like this might be better for an HPA tank, or if you want to run a setup where you have an adjustable regulator and you can turn it down to like 500 psi input. So what I'm running right now is basically just a big old 20-ounce CO2 tank and or an HPA tank. The CO2 tank I'm using, it's a 20-ounce, it's probably like a half full, and the HPA tank, it puts out 800, I think it's 800 or 850 psi is the output, but that thing's pretty much like topped off. I think the pressure in it is around 2000. So I'm gonna try the CO2 tank to see if I'm getting the same numbers as I did in previous videos. So I have the super old, like 17-year-old stock valve spring in here, and I have a brand new hard bolt spring in here. So I'm gonna air it up, see if it holds air, and then I'll go outside and start shooting it. So just give me 1 second. Alright, you guys, it's pressurized, it holds air. I tried dry firing it, everything works fine. Like, the bolt came back, so it's like semi-automatic firing, which is what it should be doing. I'm going to be using 3.6 gram nylon balls. The last time I tried this with the same springs and everything and the regulator attached, it maxed out around 330 feet per second. So it was probably getting like 18 joules or something. Right now I have the spring, the bolt spring is not tightened down all the way because I don't want it to bind. So I'm gonna do like 2 or 3 shots and then turn it up, and then do 2 or 3 shots and then turn it up. So see what this does. 288. So that's about 12 or 13 joules. 294. It's a little bit stronger, but 300 feet per second is 15 joules. 292. So I'm going to turn it up right now, so just give me 1 second. Alright, I turn it up about 3 turns. 294. 298. 294. 294. So I'm gonna turn it up again. Give me 1 second. All right, I turned it up about 3 times. I think I could do it one more time. 300. 304. 296. 300. I'm gonna turn it up one more time. All right, I turned it up. I cleared out the box. I'm still using the same nylon rounds and everything. And I think I turned it up like 2.5 times, but I could still turn up a little bit more. Not that much. 306. 304. 306. 306. So I'm going to turn it up one more time. So right now it's hitting about 15 joules, maybe 15.5, but I'm going to turn it up. All right, it's maxed out on velocity. So I'll see what this does. 310. 310. 308. 306. 308. So yeah, so far it's not performing as well as it did with the regulator on it, but it could also be an issue with my CO2 tank not being completely full, because when I was shooting it and the regulator was hooked up to it, I had basically a full CO2 tank, and I've been using these CO2 tanks with a bunch of other stuff lately, like the TCR and the Tip-X and a bunch of other stuff. So when I last checked, this tank, it weighed about 200 grams more than it does empty. So yeah, when it's empty it weighs 830 grams just about, and when I weighed it, it weighed about 1,000 grams, so like 1,030 or something. So it does have about 200 grams of CO2 in it. But I'm gonna degas this right now. Just give me 1 second. One thing I have not tried yet at all is using an HPA tank on this marker. So this is at just about 2,000. I've only shot this HPA tank with like the BB guns, and I think I used the TCR with it off camera a few days ago. Just very minimal shots, but I know that it has 2,000 PSI in it. Typically these old stacked tube blowback paintball markers, they usually like want CO2, and that's kind of why I got that that valve I showed you, the valve that is not installed in this right now. That valve will allow the HPA to sort of just kind of do its thing where you're using air in this marker, but it works almost as good as the CO2. But I've never tried this with HPA, so I want to get like a baseline reading. So my spring is still maxed out, and my valve spring is the same one in the front and the same one in the back. So if this isn't hitting like 310 or anywhere close to that, I'll know that I need to try putting that other valve in this. 254, 248. So yeah, this is just another example of when HPA is not as good as CO2, and it could be the temperature out here, it could be my even though my CO2 tank isn't completely full, it's still just, this marker wants CO2, so it just performs better. Certain markers I have, even if they aren't these old paintball markers, like some of the like my salt supply S2, when I have the tank adapter and stuff attached to it, when I'm running HPA on the salt supply S2, it gets lower readings than if I ran it on the big CO2 tank, even though they're supposedly the same like pressure output. And other times it's pretty even, like when I run the HPA tank on like the Umarex HDB shotgun, or on the HDP 50 or the HDR 68 or the TR 68. Usually all of those seem to perform just as well on either type of gas. And for reasons sort of beyond my knowledge, aside from CO2 isn't regulated, temperature dependent, and there's just some days where the CO2, like on a warm day, just performs better than high pressure air. I do not have any 1100 PSI regulators to get like that insane amount of pressure from my tank. This tank was like 20 bucks or 25 bucks or something from A&S Gear, and I think a regulator is like 100 or like $80. So the regulator, this thing up here, costs more than the whole tank. So I don't know, to me it's just not worth buying something like that. And in about 2 years I'll have to get this thing hydro tested or just buy a new one. I think a hydro test is like 50 bucks. I've seen other stuff where they say it's $20. I have no idea how much a hydro test is because I've never done it, and I'll cross that bridge when it comes around. But yeah, I'm gonna go back in the house and probably switch out the valve on that and try to come back out here again. All right, you guys, I took the this basically like a regulator delete piece off. So this just fits in here. It has 2 O-rings, and then it secures with a screw that goes through here and right here. So it's held in by a screw. And I'm just gonna put this to the side. This new valve, it's supposed to be a low pressure valve. So this piece makes this high pressure because it's bypassing the regulator. And my original part for the Spyder, it came with a regulator, and this little weird nub thing is a low pressure volumizer or like chamber. So what this does is it houses extra air for when you're like rapid firing. A little bit of air fills in this little chamber, and then when you shoot the next round, it goes through the through this body, and the bolt comes flying forward, flies back, air gets dispersed out the barrel, and then it resets itself. And if I'm using this valve, I'm gonna try it all stock with my regulator and my low pressure chamber thingy, because I'm not sure what will happen if I run high pressure on a low pressure valve. I'm gonna try it, but for now I'm just gonna do this new valve that's basically, it's missing all this metal. I'll pop out the old valve right now and I'll show you guys what the old one looks like. I got these parts from I&I Sports. They had an eBay page and I saw some of their stuff, and then the prices were okay, and then I just looked on like Google. I typed in I&I Sports and I found their website, and I ordered everything through their website, and it was actually really like way cheaper than ordering it through eBay. So I think I spent like $15 on all this stuff. The the valve body, this thing right here, and it came with a cup seal, which is this little brass thing with like a washer on the back of it. This cup seal is usually all plastic, so it was unique that they had a brass one, or brass plated or whatever. I forgot I have to do something. I'll be right back. I forgot that I had to take off the trigger assembly to get to this screw. This screw right here is holding in the valve, and it's covered by the trigger. So yeah, I need to remove it to see that little brass screw. It's like a set screw. Basically what I'm trying to get to is that little circle thing you see in here that I'm poking with the chopstick. I have to get it to that and push it out, but the screw is keeping it in there. So it should come out really easily now, because this is just holding it in. It's just kind of sticking into it. So I should be able to pop this little thing out, and I'll install the other one. I'm going to put grease and oil and stuff on the new one because it's like bone dry. This company, they have like brand new old stock of certain things, and this is the old valve. So you can see all the material that's on the old valve. And basically what this does is air is coming in through here and then up, out. But this metal right here is kind of blocking a lot of air. So this is a high pressure, low volume valve. This is the original stock Spyder valve, and this is the new one. So what this does is air comes in through here, which is the same as this. Air comes through the front, and then more air can fill the space and expel out. Because in here, it might be hard to see. In here, you can kind of see that reflection. I can't really get my hand up in there, but there's a hole in there, right where that pin, there's a pin going across right here, and there's a hole right above it. So that hole goes into the bolt, and when the second, there's two bolts. There's a striker bolt, and there's this top bolt, and this is what pushes the paintball out, and this is the one on the bottom of the tube, the second tube. So that bolt, the black little short thing, pushes this forward, and then air can get in, and then the spring in the front, this usually is this is the original piece, this one with the spring on it. This spring pushes it back closed, and that's what gives you the air that blows out the bolt. So the bolt, it has a hole right here, and that hole lines up with the hole above the valve. So it pushes the ball, and then it gets the air to blow out, and then it recocks itself. So that's how this thing works. And yeah, so I'm going to put this new valve in here, and then I'll probably just install it off camera. It's just boring to see me do this, I think. So if you guys want to see it, I'll make a video later, but for now I'm just going to pause it. Alright, you guys, I got it all reassembled. Thing was being not a pain, but I had to kind of press it in there with a little bit of force. So I used the Sharpie, like the blunt end of the Sharpie to stick in the front, and then I just really lightly tapped on it with the hammer to get it in there. I'll probably have to get a wooden dowel or something, because I feel like I'm probably going to snap this if I tried doing that to take it out, but I need to see what this does first. So yeah, I have the regulator back on. That new valve is in there. This is the old one. As you can see, it's like a solid piece of metal, and the other one, like half of it's shaved off. And then I put the new cup seal in there, which is that rod with that little like plastic nub thing on it. And yeah, I'll see what happens. So I'm going to take it outside, air it up, and I'll be right back. Alright, you guys, new valve is in. I forgot to put a little piece in the front, so I put that in there. It looks like a star. It's a piece of metal that goes around the cup seat and the spring. I think it guides the cup seat to stay straight instead of like bending or something. So that's all good now. There's pressure on this. It's reading like 600 or 700 on this gauge. This gauge is super old. I don't know how accurate it is. I'm running the HPA tank. I just want to get some Chrono readings, and yeah, let's see what it does. All right, here we go. Low pressure valve and HPA tank. I have no idea what this is going to do. Could be worse. It could be better. Let's see what happens. 250, 248, 242, 244. So it's kind of worse, but I am using HPA, so I'm going to switch out the tank and put the CO2 tank on here. Actually, I forgot, I need to dial up the velocity. So I'm dialing up the velocity on the main bolt. I think I did it like 5 turns right now, so I'll see what this does. 258. This is still on the HPA tank. 266. 260. I'm going to dial it up. Probably just max it out. So yeah, I'm almost maxed out. Now it's maxed out. So this is probably as good as it's going to get with the spring setup and everything on the HPA tank. 286. 278, 280, 284, 278. I'm using the 3.6 gram balls. Paintballs usually weigh 3 grams. So if I was using 3 gram paintballs, I'd probably be hitting over 300 feet per second. And I'm not using this for paintball. I'm using this as a self-defense, home defense, mostly home defense because it's so big. Home defense application. It wouldn't matter that you're hitting over 300, but the point I'm trying to make is if you're using an HPA tank on this and you have this special valve installed, you would be able to get to that. Most fields, when you play, they say the maximum velocity you can shoot at is 300. Some of them will say 290 feet per second. So with this valve, you won't have to have your velocity turned up as high to be hitting that 300 or 290 feet per second maximum, whatever they allow you to do on the field. You'll be able to get it better with this valve that's installed. So I just bought this because it was so cheap. And then yeah, obviously I have to fiddle around with springs and stuff like that just to see if I get any more power out of this. And then still the best I've gotten is about 18 joules. I'm just going to dry fire this. I'll be right back. Alright you guys, CO2 time. So I just aired it up and it is registering higher than the HPA tank. It's almost at 1,000. So yeah, I'm going to put the hopper on and then start shooting the same 3.6 gram nylon balls. Alright, here we go. I dialed the velocity back a little bit because I don't know what this is going to do. So CO2 tank, low pressure valve, and like high volume, low pressure valve, and the CO2 tank that's like half full. And the velocity is dialed down, but I am going to dial it up. 260, 252, 252. I'm going to turn it up. So I turn it up 6 turns. 268, 268, 268. I'm going to turn it up again. So I'm going to just max it out. If I hit like 310 again, that's what I was hitting without any of these extra parts attached. 288, 280, 286, 286, 284. So yeah, it's not really doing any performance boost. If anything, it's getting worse. But I mean, if you had rapid fire, like let's see, 280 is 13 joules. If you had 13 joules hitting you constantly, you would probably want to not be there anymore. So I guess next would be I'll probably do it on a different video because I'm not getting any like gains on or return gains on any of this stuff so far. Next time I'm going to try low pressure valve, which is in here, take this off and put that regulator deleter piece, that little black thing with the nub sticking out. I'll put that on here next time because yeah, I think it's like 7 and it's not getting late, but it's kind of hot out here and I need to put all this stuff away. So see you guys on the next one, and hopefully I can get this to hit harder.